ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar my dear friends. This is video number 3 on Kathopanishad. This video starts with stanza number 20. Naciketas said, "There is this doubt about a man when he is dead. Some say that he exists, others that he does not. This I should like to know, taught by you. This is the third of my boons." That he exists, that is to say, that there is in man an indestructible element which is different from the body, the senses, the mind, and the buddhi or discriminative faculty, and which assumes another body after death. This I should, etc. The attainment of the supreme goal of life is dependent upon self-knowledge, taught by you, because even if such an Atma exists, it cannot be known either through the sense organs or by inference. Only a qualified teacher can impart self-knowledge. The first two boons, chosen by Nachiketa apply to an unillumined person conscious of such notions as duty, happiness, the here and the hereafter. According to a Vedic injunction, such a person should fulfill his moral and religious obligations in order to purify his heart. When he finds the happiness of the relative universe, including that of Brahmaloka, to be transitory, he then becomes entitled to cultivate self-knowledge. Nachiketa will presently be offered by the king of death various earthly and celestial objects which ignorant people crave for, and it will be pointed out that these are obstacles to self-knowledge. The acquisition of self-knowledge requires austere spiritual discipline. Such knowledge can be acquired only by those who are detached from all material desires and objects. The king of death wanted to be convinced of Nachiketa's seriousness and determination and subjected him to severe test. Stanza number 21. Yama said, "On this subject, even the gods formerly had their doubts. It is not easy to understand. The nature of Atma is subtle. Choose another boon, O Nachiketa. Do not press me. Release me from that boon." Not easy, etc. Even though explained again and again, it is unintelligible to ordinary mind. The disciple was unwavering in his determination. Stanza 22. Nachiketa said, "O death, even the gods have their doubts about this subject, and you have declared it to be not easy to understand. But another teacher like you cannot be found, and surely no other boon is comparable to this. Like you, Yama, the king of death, holds a very high position among the Hindu gods. He is the personification of dharma or righteousness and of self-control. Because of his supreme detachment, he is given the power of deciding man's destiny after death. No other boon, self knowledge alone, bestows upon man the highest good. All other forms of knowledge produce transitory results. Next, the king of death tested Nachiketa by offering him various worldly pleasures. Stanza number 23. Yama said, choose sons and grandsons who shall live 100 years. Choose elephants, horses, herds of cattle and gold. Choose a vast domain on earth. Live here as many years as you desire. Live here, etc. For a short lived person, earthly enjoyments too quickly pass to make his suggestion seem worth accepting. Yama offers Nachiketa an endless period of enjoyment. Stanza 24. If you deem any other boon equal to that, choose it, choose wealth and a long life, be the king. O Nachiketa of the wide earth, I will make you the enjoyer of all desires that described in the preceding verse, all desires, both earthly and celestial. Stanza 25. Whatever desires are difficult to satisfy in this world of mortals, choose them as you wish. These fair maidens, with their chariots and musical instruments, man cannot obtain them. I give them to you, and they shall wait upon you. But do not ask me about death. Do not ask, etc. To a seeker after tangible happiness, asking about the hereafter of the soul is as unprofitable as examining the teeth of a crow. Though tempted with these alluring objects, Nachiketa remained unperturbed like the serene depths of ocean. Stanza number 26. Nachiketa said, but O death, these endure only till tomorrow. Furthermore, they exhaust the vigor of all the sense organs. Even the longest life is short indeed. Keep your horses, dances, and songs for yourself. Endure, etc. That is to say, all material enjoyments are transitory. Exhausted by the enjoyment of sense pleasures, a man gradually loses his dharma, virility, wisdom, strength, and fame. Therefore, in the end, they are harmful. Even the longest, etc., everything that exists in time and space is subject to birth, growth, decay, and death. A god may live longer than a man, and Brahma, the creator, may live longer of all, but when the universe comes to an end at the conclusion of the cycle, man and gods disappear. Atma alone is beyond time and space, hence it is immortal. Compared to the immortality of Atma, even Brahma's span of life is as momentary as the blinking of the eyes. Immortality, Amritatvam, is the real nature of man, and its attainment is the conscious or unconscious goal of his efforts. Since Nachiketa was a seeker after immortality, he could not remain satisfied with anything existing in time and space and governed by the law of causation. Furthermore, stanza number 27. Wealth can never make a man happy. Moreover, since I have beheld you, I shall certainly obtain wealth. I shall also live as long as you rule. Therefore, no boon will be accepted by me but the one that I have asked, wealth, etc. It is well known that a man earns money through untiring labor and great suffering, yet does not derive from it enduring satisfaction. Since I have, etc., since Nachiketa had found favor with Yama, he would have both wealth and a long life if he so desired. Stanza number 28. Who among decaying mortals here below, having approached the undecaying immortals and coming to know that his higher needs may be fulfilled by them, could exult in a life overlong after he had pondered on the pleasures arising from beauty and song. Undecaying, the gods are free from old age and infirmity, though subject to eventual death. Higher needs to one seeking immortality, the cultivation of knowledge, discrimination, and renunciation are more desirable than wealth. When the gods are propitiated, they can bestow upon man spiritual virtues, exalt, etc. A man must eventually part with his material possessions. The longer he enjoys them, the more regrets he feels at the moment of parting. Pondered, a thoughtful man realizes that worldly pleasures are nothing but transitory sensations resulting from contact of the sense organs with their objects. They cannot save him from decay and death. These and the previous verses show how deeply Nachiketa was impressed by the ephemeral nature of all enjoyment on earth and in heaven. His longing for liberation through self knowledge was intense indeed. Nachiketa could not be tempted by worldly enjoyment. Tell me, O death, of that great hereafter about which a man has his doubts. Nachiketa will surely not choose any other boon but the one so wrapped in mystery. Great hereafter, eternity, the knowledge of the eternal nature of the soul alone confirms the highest felicity on a man. The second sentence of this verse is a statement of the scripture and not of Nachiketa. Here ends chapter 1 of part 1 of the Katha Upanishad. Chapter 2. Yama said, the good is one thing, the pleasant another. Both of these, serving different needs, bind a man. It goes well with him who of the two takes the good, but he who chooses the pleasant misses the end. Good, the highest good, the pleasant, sense pleasures enjoyed through wealth, wife, children, and other material objects. Different needs, leading their devotees to the different goals of liberation and bondage. Bind a man. The text refers to unillumined persons belonging to the various stages of life and engaged in the performance of what they consider to be their duties. Some among them seek pleasures, and some the highest good or liberation, according to their respective spiritual evolution. The former pursue avidya or the lower knowledge, and the latter vidya or the higher knowledge. So both are said to be bound by their respective sense of duty. Even the Striving after liberation indicates a state of bondage. For an illumined person who has realized the full freedom of the self, there are no strivings, no duties, no obligations, such as the practice of meditation or the observance of spiritual vows. He is free from all the bondage of the relative world. Goes well because the ideal of the good confirms ultimately the highest good of the two, namely the good and the pleasant. They are mutually opposed and cannot be pursued simultaneously by anyone. And self knowledge, which is the supreme end of human effort. It is within the power of every man to choose either of the two ideals, but the majority cling to worldly pleasures. They are indeed short sighted and devoid of judgment. Verse number 2. Both the good and the pleasant present themselves to a man. The calm soul examines them well and discriminates. Yeah, he prefers the good to the pleasant, but the fool chooses the pleasant out of greed and avarice. Calm soul. This calmness is the result of discrimination between the real and the unreal. Discriminates like a swan separating milk from a mixture of milk and water, or an ant sifting sugar from mixture of sugar and sand. Prefers, etc. Because from the standpoint of man's ultimate welfare, the good far outweighs the pleasant. Out of greed, etc. That is to say, the fool is impelled by the motive of greed and avarice. He seeks material things for the nourishment and protection of his body. Most people are devoid of the power of discrimination. They are swayed by greed and attachment. Therefore, they prefer worldly pleasures to spiritual bliss. Again, the king of death spoke highly of Naciketas' discrimination and detachment. Stanza number 3. O Nachiketa, after pondering well the pleasures that are or seem to be delightful, you have renounced them all. You have not taken the road abounding in wealth where many men sink. That are tangible objects of pleasures like wealth and relative seem to be etc., such as celestial maidens and other objects in heaven, road, etc. Worldly people follow this road and sink, alas, in the mire. Material happiness was offered to Nachiketa in its most tempting force, most tempting form. It has been said that it goes well with the follower of the good and that the follower of the pleasant misses the end. Why so? Stanza 4. Wide apart and leading to different ends are these two, ignorance and what is known as knowledge. I regard you, O Nachiketa, to be one who desires knowledge, for even many pleasures could not tempt you away. Wide apart, the two paths of the pleasant and the good, being of the nature of ignorance and knowledge, are mutually exclusive, like darkness and light. Different ends, that is to say, bondage and freedom, tempt you away from the path of the good by making Nachiketa succumb to worldly enjoyment. The king of death condemned ignorance by pointing out its evil result. Stanza number 5. Fools dwelling in darkness but thinking themselves wise and erudite go round and round by various tortuous paths like the blind led by the blind. Dwelling in darkness, that is to say, enchained by myriads of thirst for worldly objects, wise, endowed with worldly wisdom, erudite, well versed in the letter of scriptures, go round and round, that is to say, after death they are forced to assume different bodies, good and evil, all resulting from their ignorance by various etc. These crooked paths are characterized by old age, suffering, and death. These fools are deprived of knowledge of the great hereafter. Stanza number 6. The hereafter never reveals itself to a person devoid of discrimination, heedless and perplexed by the delusion of wealth. This world alone exists, he thinks, and there is no other. Again and again he comes under my sway. Hereafter, the knowledge of the soul's existence after the destruction of the body. The word also signifies certain spiritual disciplines such as the repetition and meditation of Om, by means of which one may enjoy peace and blessedness in Brahmaloka, or even realize one's identity with Brahma, person, etc. A foolish person endowed with the undeveloped minds of a child, heedless, distracted by attachment to worldly possessions, perplexed like a man in dense darkness. This world, the sense perceived world, again and again, etc. That is to say, he passes through endless birth and death. Such is the fate of man in general. Few and far between are those who seek self knowledge. So I conclude this video here, and next video number 4 will continue stanza number 7 of chapter 2. Same self, the topic of self knowledge will continue in video number 4. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friends.